Here's something that might surprise you. The experience you're ordering from some of the UK's most popular chicken chains isn't always what branding suggests. After digging through customer complaints, local prosecution reports, hygiene guidance, and review patterns, we ranked 7 major UK chicken chains based on reported issues and consistency concerns. You're about to see where the complaints repeat and where customers report poor value. By the end, you'll know which places show more reported issues, which ones appear more consistent, and which ones at least try to act like your stomach is involved. Let's start at the bottom. Number 7. Dixie Chicken. Dixie sells you the dream of cheap fried chicken done fast. Late night, low price, big box, no thinking required. The problem is what happens when low price becomes the whole operating system. In 2022, a Walsall Dixie was temporarily closed after live inspectors reported rodent activity, and the owner later received a suspended sentence and financial penalties. That case represented a serious compliance failure at that location. Now compare that with customer review patterns. On consumer platforms, similar complaints appear repeatedly across reviews. Orders arriving lukewarm, chicken tasting old, oil-heavy, random item swaps, and refund chats that go nowhere unless people push hard. Similar complaints appear across reviews for multiple locations. Mechanically, this makes sense. Ultra-budget positioning can create brutal throughput pressure. When budgeting is tight, timing and consistency can become operational challenges. This can make maintaining consistency difficult, and this is where the price betrayal kicks in. You walk in for a cheap meal, maybe £6 or £7, and still end up with food you don't finish. Cheap doesn't feel cheap when dinner becomes bin food. If complaints like this at Dixie are what happens when cost-cutting takes over, the next chain proves brand love doesn't protect you either. Number 6. Morley's. Morley's has cult status in London. You know the logo, you know the corner shop glow, you know the nostalgia argument, but nostalgia doesn't sanitize a counter. Merton Council reported a Mitcham Morley's being temporarily closed after a customer spotted a cockroach in the serving area. The closure lasted 10 days. That incident highlights how narrow the margin for error can be in food service. Then, you hit the pattern layer. Review channels show recurring complaints. Crunchy coating that turns soggy before it reaches home, chips that feel reheated, drinks forgotten, wrong dips, and the classic no-resolution spiral where the customer does all the chasing. This is exactly the kind of failure pattern the sample video punished hard, and it belongs here for the same reason. It's not one dramatic story. Operationally, Morley's branch variability is the issue. The brand is loved, but branch execution can swing wildly by location and shift. Some shops run tight, some feel like roulette, and price betrayal still lands. You're not paying luxury money, but you are paying enough to expect hot food, correct items, and basic confidence. If you can't count on that, value collapses. Morley shows how a beloved name can overpower harsh truths. Next up is a global giant where scale should have elad to more consistency. Number 5. KFC. KFC's promise is simple and powerful. Original recipe consistency, global systems, and a chicken meal that should be hard to mess up. That promise takes damage when branch-level hygiene cases receive media attention. A London KFC branch in Leytonstone was reported in coverage of prosecution action tied to serious hygiene failings, including rodent-related concerns and building issues. You don't need dramatic language here. When a chain of this size faces enforcement action at branch level, it raises questions about consistency. Complaints around cold deliveries, stale fries, missing items, and unresolved app support threads have appeared across review sites and social threads. People complain about taste, and they also complain about feeling ignored when orders fail and refunds get stuck in support loops. Mechanism-wise, KFC's delivery-heavy model is part of the stress point. Chicken that sits too long becomes unenjoyable. Crisp turns rubbery, steam kills texture, and timing drift wrecks the meal. Then, price betrayal lands hard. Family buckets are no longer cheap comfort buys. You're paying real money now, and when the order is late, cold, or incomplete, it feels like paying premium for leftovers. If you thought a big brand meant stable basics, KFC shows how large-scale operations can face branch-level consistency challenges. And if kitchen smells matter to you, the next chain faced a case that drew serious local attention. Number 4. Pepe's Piri Piri. Pepe sells flame-grilled swagger, smoky chicken, loaded rice boxes, and that grilled fresh identity that feels cleaner than deep-fried chains. Looks great in theory, ugly when operational control slips. A Pepe's operator in Telford was prosecuted after complaints linked to acrid odors from burned chicken fat and smoke emissions. Contradicting the brand's polished image is something customers may remember. Customer reviews mirror the same frustration in different words. Burnt taste on one order, bland on the next, dry breast pieces, confusing wait times, and branch-to-branch quality whiplash. Some locations get love, others receive criticism. That inconsistency is important because you never know what version you're buying on a random Tuesday night. The operational reason is straightforward. Grilled chicken chains live and die by timing discipline. Overhold it and it dries. Overchar it and it tastes bitter. Rush it and the texture goes weird. Price betrayal follows immediately. When a meal creeps into double-digit spend and the chicken lands dry with weak sides, customers feel disappointed. Pepe's illustrates how premium branding doesn't always guarantee consistent execution at branch level. The next chain had massive launch hype and is still on this list. Number 3. Popeyes UK. Popeyes arrived in the UK with pure hype energy. Long queues, social buzz, big expansion, and menu drops marketed like events. Hype is great for launch day. It does nothing for execution on an ordinary weekday. TripAdvisor pages for London locations show a mixed picture, with repeated complaints about slow service, cold food, and in one case, a customer claimed that the chicken came undercooked and had to be sent back. That undercooked allegation is exactly the type of named incident viewers latch onto because it moves from bad value to potentially undercooked chicken. Trustpilot reviews are highly polarized, which is a warning sign for reliability. Some customers love it, others describe major misses and poor recovery experience after mistakes. That spread tells you the chain can be excellent on one visit and maddening on the next. Mechanism is a classic growth strain. Fast expansion, heavy demand spikes, and new team onboarding can produce unstable execution while the brand races ahead. Price betrayal is real too. Even promo-style launches can start around £6, and full meals climb quickly. Once your basket rises, tolerance for misses drops to 0. Overall, Popeyes appears inconsistent across several locations based on review patterns. Next chain looks cleaner on social media, then gets called out for value and portion shock. Number 2. Wingstop UK. Wingstop's promise is flavor obsession and made-to-order confidence. Pick your rub, pick your sauce, get your hit. When it lands, it lands. When it misses, it feels like expensive snack food masquerading as dinner. Across review chatter and consumer threads, the same complaints keep surfacing. Long waits even for small orders, wings arriving less hot than expected, sauce coverage that can feel stingy, and add-ons missing at handoff. Customers usually aren't saying every meal is bad. They're saying the inconsistency is too high for the price point. The operational reason is simple. Wing formats punish delay. 5 extra minutes in a bag and texture drops hard. If handoff timing and packing discipline slip, quality drops before the customer even opens the box. Then, price betrayal comes in hard. You can spend the cost of a proper sit-down meal and still feel hungry if portions run light or sides disappoint. For a chain positioned as flavor first, value has to feel obvious every single time. People mention service recovery has been inconsistent as well. Missing items and cold food claims can get met with token vouchers that don't match the hassle. That said, Wingstop usually beats the lower-ranked chains on food when execution is clean, which is why it lands near the top of this list. And now to the least bad mainstream option. Still imperfect, still expensive, but generally safer than the rest. Number 1. Nando's. Nando's sells reliability, not chaos. You expect cooked-through chicken, predictable heat levels, and a dining room experience that feels more controlled than takeaway roulette. Among major chicken chains, that consistency is why it survives this ranking near the top. Even Nando's has shown stress under pressure. During the UK supply disruption period, restaurants temporarily closed and menus were constrained. That was a public reminder that even well-run systems can wobble when supply breaks. Still, customer patterns are different from the lower-tier chains. Complaints usually land on price inflation, smaller perceived value, or slower service at peak times, not the same volume of hygiene stories you see around the bottom end. Mechanically, that checks out. Nando's format is simpler to control than high-volume deep-fried takeaway models, and dine-in workflow gives slightly better temperature control before handoff. Price betrayal still exists. Two people can spend real money fast once you add sides and drinks, so expectations are high and any service stumble gets punished immediately. But if you're choosing between mainstream chicken chains in the UK today, this is the least bad bet for basic dependability. Which should worry you, because being least bad is not exactly a glowing standard. So here's the uncomfortable truth. The biggest chicken chains sell confidence first and food second, and confidence is way easier to market than it is to deliver. You pay for speed, familiarity, and convenience, then hope your branch has a good shift and a manager who actually cares. If you take one thing from this ranking, make it this. Stop trusting logos blindly. Check recent branch reviews across more than one platform, check the hygiene rating online before you order, and take a second look at ultra-cheap deals. It may not be a gift. If this changed how you pick your next chicken order, drop your worst chain experience in the comments. The pattern only gets clearer when people compare notes. Now that you know the worst chicken restaurants to eat at in the UK, get ready for our next video where we'll give a list of the places that you can get great tasting chicken that's actually good for you.